The internet in the early 2000s was an interesting place. Online safety wasn't really a thing, and we all had Tom from MySpace as our bestie. Welcome to RetroVision, where I deep dive the depths of internet lore and dig out forgotten memories of the internet's many, many past lives. In this first episode, we're exploring a memory that most of us can look back fondly on, and that's playing Dollz dress up online. Hands up if you remember Dollz Mania. Let's go back to the beginning.
This is history.
The history of dressing up dolls predates the internet, and I mean like actual physical cut-out paper dolls, which dates back to around 18th century Paris. The paper doll to hook in generations before us, and the first to be manufactured was Little Fanny, produced by S&J Fuller in 1810. What an interesting choice of name.
I love that name. You should get it on the back of matching jackets.
Now, as a child of the internet, I don't have any memories playing with physical paper dolls, but I did spend hours and hours dressing digital paper dolls. In 1995, a website called The Palace was created by Jim Bumgardner. It was a chat room server with a huge selection of forums for different topics, but this corner of the internet was mainly populated by girls and has solidified its place in the history books as the birthplace of doll avatars. The Palace was also the birthplace of chat rooms where you could customize pixel dolls and host and compete in pageants. One Reddit user describes the Palace as the origin of other avatar chat-based simulators like Second Life. This iconic throwback is where using avatars came from, and most importantly, making and customizing the avatars yourself too. I managed to find deep within the Internet Archives a 2003 blog post by user Shattered Innocence, who seems to be one of the first people to make their own doll's avatar, saying that one night in December 1995, I drew a cartoon Barbie, but I made her goth, because I'm goth. Apparently, everyone loved it so much that she started making new clothes to dress up the doll using Photoshop, eventually developing into the now well-known original Prep doll from the summer of 1996. 1997 was when dolls started to appear as avatars, but at that time they were called Little People, and they became a sign of rebellion against the Palace's older original users. Its popularity inspired multiple doll dress-up websites from the early 2000s and today, but the one that sticks out the most from my childhood is Dollz Mania. Now, Dollz Mania didn't have the chat room aspect, but it did have a much wider range of creative clothing, which encouraged self-expression. To play or create on Dollz Mania, you'd select a bare doll body and drag and drop your selected clothes onto her. I'll be covering more on the fashion a little later. I literally have no memory of ever doing anything with these dolls once I'd spent hours dressing them and exploring different style choices. Like, imagine pleading with your parents to let you stay on the computer for an hour longer, and then just casually Xing out of all of your progress at bedtime.
Please, I'm begging you.
But other people would enter them into competitions on the Palace forums. Another Reddit user in r/nostalgia said that they would copy and paste their blank bodies into MS Paint and make their own clothes pixel by pixel. A Dollz Mania history blog says that Dollars, the doll creator community, would allow people to adopt a doll from their site, under the stipulations that the file wasn't to be edited and they were credited as the original artist with a link to their website.
Those are the rules.
In a 2002 interview by Document, Josephine Vandervelde, an early creator on the Palace, said that if you were not artistically gifted, you could drag and drop your own avatar, choose from outfits, hairstyles, and accessories, and then screenshot it. But it wasn't all peachy and cool. She goes on to say that cliques were formed and that having original ideas were important, with copying being a big offence. Nicknamed Frankendolling, which is using someone else's doll or copying other dolls to create your own, was unacceptable.
You broke the rules. You are our prisoner.
This era of the internet really solidified so many people's personalities and creativity. So much so that there's been a dolls resurgence through memes. Not forgetting the classic GIFs that were the memes' predecessors, usually with some cringe text or a song lyric or something like, "Nerds are cute."
Downloaded some really cool gifs. You want to see them?
As the site soared in popularity, a variety of dolls styles were created. The dolls were set up into different categories: preps, minis, wonderkins, silents, and bonitas, to name a few. The evolution of the dolls was mainly down to the imagination of the dolls creators and users, with a community making their own doll bodies, eventually transforming them into more lifelike dolls like Everskies.
It's evolution.
Now, in my opinion, Dollz Mania walked so other doll dress-up games could run. Countless other dress-up games that were developed after Dollz Mania include, but are not limited to, Doll Divine, Azalea's Dolls, Barbie Fashion Designer, and My Scene games, which hosted many paper doll dress-ups, and later in the early 2000s wandered into make-up flash games.
Also love fashion.
The early 20s saw a Y2K revival in terms of fashion: low-rise jeans, bra crop tops with the frilly edge, velour tracksuits, belly chains. Well, Dollz Mania had it all the first time round. The pixel glitter, tiny handbags, money pieces, it literally had it all. The fashion of the dolls was heavily influenced by pop culture. Think preppy fashion inspired by Clueless, emo trends, Harry Potter, gothic Lolita from Japan, and fairies. In the mid-noughts, Von Dutch hats, flared jeans, and miniskirts were everywhere, which is no surprise to see that these were regularly included in the selection of clothes available on Dollz Mania. In fact, a lot of the fashion and trends from the early 20s look like they were essentially modelled from the dolls.
It's fashion sensitive.
Gothic Lolita features garms like aprons, petticoats, platform heels, and heavy dramatic makeup, with its romantic yet dark visuals being so absolutely perfect for dress up and self-expression. The Paris Review describes it as a celebration of femininity, modesty, cuteness, and beauty that does not fit into mainstream fashion trends. Preppy trends in Dollz Mania include a lot of pleated skirts, little cardigans, wrap tops, and A-line skirts with a slit, which is a not so distant throwback to the continuing Y2K fashion resurrection. In fact, I'm sure a lot of us would be pretty happy to have the Dollz Mania collection as our actual wardrobe. And of course, we have the infamous goth preps, which on Dollz Mania was a whole subculture of fashion in itself. Style Dolls describe this as: Gothic fashion includes a pale complexion with coloured black hair, black lips, and black clothes. Goths wear dark eyeliner and dark fingernails. Fashion is a huge part of goth subculture. Gothic lifestyle is a way of living. Which I love, because it sounds so serious and bizarre, but at the time it really was that serious. So I guess you could say that Dollz Mania has aged perfectly in terms of fashion.
Where did it go so fast?
I couldn't pinpoint when I stopped making dolls or when I realised that the website didn't exist anymore. I obviously got too busy with the gothic way of living to notice.
Speak, Queen of Goths, dost thou applaud my choice?
But my research led me on a bit of a wild goose chase to find out what happened to it. Some forums from 2018 say that someone bought the domain and shut it down, but this is not confirmed anywhere.
We have to shut it down.
The whereabouts of Doll Palace is also up for debate too. One Reddit thread from r/pixeldolls speculates that the reason why the site shut down was because the owner of the site was sued by the state of Texas. This was allegedly for violating the Child Privacy Act, which enforces a parent's permission for children 13 or under to visit certain sites. But thanks to people who are desperate to keep certain elements of their childhood alive, a lot of archive pages exist on Wayback Machine, but only to look at. Some community members have even made their own simple drag and drop doll makers. There's even a change.org petition to bring back Doll Palace. In the description of why it matters, the owner of the petition said they cannot find a website anywhere close that can satisfy my craving of nostalgia.
God, those were the days.
Even going as far as to say that many of its old users would happily love to have it back, and if we have to raise money for it, we would happily do it. Which is an incredible commitment for a sweet, sweet slice of nostalgia. In terms of what's out there today, we are still in a doll dress-up chokehold. Just a quick look on Google Play Store throws up a selection of options. Imagine the in-app ads. How do kids even manage these days? There's also desktop games like Star Doll and a huge 18-page list of different doll dress-up or customization games on Doll Divine. From Barbiecore to Adventure Time Princess Maker and even a furry dress-up game. I feel like some of these are more true to what Dollz Mania was, and some are in that classic nostalgia flash game style, which I just love. Others are just very cringy and seem to overcapitalize on the old doll dress-up vibe. I'm looking at you, Barbiecore.
You disgust me.
It is kind of wild that there was a day where I went onto the website for the last time and then just never returned, only for it to kind of be forgotten in the graveyard of internet history. Please let me know in the comments if you remember Dollz Mania or Doll Palace, because I need to know that I'm not alone. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. What forgotten internet history should we cover next on RetroVision? Let me know in the comments.